All right, hello everyone. Thank you for joining me for the workshop today. My name is Hope Kramer and I'm one of the wellness coordinators here at Cox Fitness Centers. So today's topic, we are talking about the power of protein, right? The fitness industry tends to be oversaturated with all the information about protein, and now they're trying to sell you all these protein bars, protein shakes. And so this workshop is intended for you to be able to apply protein in a simple manner, hopefully give you a clear understanding so that you can make the decisions that you need to make to get some proper protein, right? So if you haven't already, you can go ahead and take out that PowerPoint that we're going to refer to. Now, Alyssa made this PowerPoint. I did not. I'm using her as my reference since she is a registered dietitian. So we will not go in the order of the PowerPoint. Okay, we're going to go a little bit out of order, but most of the information that we talk about today will be in the PowerPoint. Okay, if you do not have the PowerPoint, please feel free to email us to get a copy of that as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Well, it's very important to know why protein is important. Why do people keep talking about it? Why do they say I need to get all my protein in? What's the big deal? So we have 3 macronutrients, and that is pretty much what our food consists of. And that is our fats, that is our proteins, and that is our carbs. Okay, so 3 macronutrients, and protein is a key player. And the reason why this is so important is because it helps us build muscle. Right? Each macronutrient has a job. So, for example, fat, that helps you sustain energy for a long period of time. Your carbs, their job is to give you quick energy, really, really quick. So that's your quick sugar, give you a quick fix when you need to get up and run. And our protein, that helps us rebuild. That helps us recover. Yes, it gives us a little bit of energy, but its main job is to help repair our muscles, and that is so very important. So it also has a ton of other functions, and on that PowerPoint, I believe that is on slide 4. So if you're looking at the PowerPoint right now, you can see that long list of everything that protein is good for. But the main functions that I want to bring to your attention is it repairs muscles, like I said earlier, it suppresses your hunger, all right? And it's going to regulate blood sugar. Okay, so those are 3 important things that it does, along with everything else listed on slide 4. So now we know what protein is, why it's so important. So let's talk about the different types. All right, you'll see later on down the slides of that PowerPoint by Miss Alyssa, she talks about animal versus plant protein. So I kind of broke those apart in her information that she gave us. And this is what I have. Animals. One good thing is that it has all the amino acids that you need. It also is higher in protein versus the plants. It is also optimal in muscle recovery. So you're going to get optimal results when you have the animal protein compared to the plant. All right. One bad thing that's not so great is it does have more saturated fat, which does increase your LDL. If you don't know what LDL is, that is bad cholesterol. Bad cholesterol. We have good cholesterol, we have bad cholesterol, and so your LDL sticks to your blood vessels, and just not good. Not good stuff. So that's your animal. Then we have our plant. Now, plant is, they call it an incomplete protein source. You're not getting all your amino acids with the plant, so that's a negative there. You do need to consume more plants to have more protein, and in the end, that can lead to more calories. Because typically when you do have a plant for a protein, you're also having some fats and carbs with that as well. It's not just a pure protein, okay? So that's another reason why it's called an incomplete protein. But there is some good stuff, right? You typically don't get that saturated fat, right? And when you do have that, you do have more fiber. And when you have more fiber, it does decrease that LDL level that you did get from that animal protein. So hopefully, breaking that down a little bit on plant versus animal, can give you a good idea. And so my personal opinion is that, and like I said, this is just a personal opinion based off of the facts that I have, is that having a balance of both can be beneficial. You want to get some protein from plants, and you also want to get some protein from animals. I know some people, you might see in the fitness industry someone going on an all animal diet or an all plant-based diet, but as you can see from the list, there is positives and negatives to both sides, and I think when you have a little bit of both, they can balance each other out just as good. All right, but like I said, remember, everyone is different. Everyone has different goals they're trying to achieve, and that may vary depending on who you talk to. Okay, so we covered animal versus plant. Now let's talk about when to eat it, right? I mean, sometimes, people set in those deadlines of, okay, 30 minutes after your workout, you have to have this much protein, or your workout was for nothing, and blah, 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 blah. So let's talk about that, because it gets overwhelming. So let's simplify it first. I think if you're just trying to get protein into your diet and be more conscious of your protein, an important thing to think of is having protein in every single meal that you eat. Okay? And I feel like a lot of times this can be missed in your breakfast. Okay, so maybe you're making sure in the morning like you're getting your oatmeal or you're getting your eggs, something that's a little bit higher in protein, and that carries throughout the day. You might even also want to consider snacks. If you have that apple, have that peanut butter as well with it to have that protein. Okay, because when you have that apple and that peanut butter together, you're going to feel fuller longer, and you're not going to feel like you have to grab another snack that can be maybe higher in carbs or something of that sort. So try to include protein every time you eat, because this does improve hunger management, which we all need, increases your metabolism as well, and it does prevent muscle loss, because even though we do want to lose weight, we do want to lose body fat, we don't want to lose our weight in muscle. We want to maintain our muscle. All right. So it is recommended that you eat protein every 3 to 4 hours and after workouts. There are some studies that show that having protein directly after the workout is beneficial, but I think just making sure that you get an adequate amount in your day is a great start. Okay, so if you've never, paid attention to your protein throughout the day, depending on where you are with your nutrition, I definitely recommend just putting protein as a priority in your meals before getting overwhelmed with all the timing, okay? So that is going to be a great start for you. So now we're going to go into, this is probably going to be the longest part of this workshop. You might even want to get out a pen and paper, but we're going to go over how much protein. So what determines how much protein you should have? And I'm going to start off by saying that this is different for every individual. Okay, this depends on your weight, your daily calories, your health conditions, your age, and your activity level. Okay, so it's all dependent on protein, and this is also why it's so beneficial for you to reach out to a dietitian or even your health coach to see what they say on how much protein you should have in the day. Okay, if we're looking for that specific number. All right, so let's go into this a little deeper here. So this is broken down a lot further with examples and all that in the PowerPoint, so you can look at this as we go through it. So I'm going to call this DIY. All right, if you don't talk to a nutritionist and you don't talk to your health coach about it, this is how you can figure this out yourself. All right, do it yourself. So let's start with body weight. If we want to consider how much protein we should have off of body weight, we have a formula that we can use and some recommendations for that. Now, in the PowerPoint, this is not said, so you might want to put a note if you're taking notes right now. This is your lean body mass. All right, not your, so let's say, if you have a female that weighs 150 pounds, when she steps on the scale, that does not need to represent the number she needs to go off of for her protein, okay? We want lean body mass, so we make sure we also aren't overeating, okay? So, your lean body mass, that is your bones, your organs, and your muscles. That is not including any weight of your fat. Okay, so you can find this, I got a scale off Amazon, I think for $30. I step on it. It's connected to an app on my phone. It tells me my lean body mass when I step on that, and it's semi-accurate. I think it's accurate enough to go off of for something like this. If you do the in-body scan, that's going to tell you your lean body mass and different things of that sort. So there's different resources out there for you to find this number. You can also just estimate. All right, if I'm not sure what my lean body mass is, but I have in the past, I can just estimate and be like, okay, well, I probably weigh this much if I didn't have any fat on my body. All right, so we have some recommendations here. Now, on the PowerPoint, it's going to have a minimum, an endurance athlete, and a strength athlete. So your minimum is 0.8 grams per body weight per pound. Okay, I don't know if you can see this very well, but we're going to try. So that's your minimum. That's your average person. Okay, that's you're trying to lose weight, you're trying to walk every day, you're trying to be active. This is the number for you. This is the average person. Okay, I can't stress that enough. All right, under that number on the PowerPoint, we have endurance athlete to active people, and that's 1.2 to 1.5 grams per pound. Okay, and that's going to be endurance athletes. Or just active people. Now, by this, I'm meaning those are your people that are running every day. Okay, so those are your track runners. Those are your people that love your 5Ks and your 10Ks and all that good stuff. Okay, this is your recommended amount. Okay, this isn't like you do 10,000 steps a day. This is you are really getting that heart rate up. You are running. You're doing HIIT all the time. Something of that sort. Okay, so this is your endurance athletes, your very, very active people that are constantly moving. Then we have another category on that PowerPoint from Alyssa. My marker is running out here. Let me switch. And they're going 2 grams of protein per pound. Okay, so that's going to be your strength athlete. All right, those are your people that are lifting really heavy weights in the gym. Those are your bodybuilders. Those are your really strong people, your CrossFit. Okay, any CrossFit people out there, those people that are lifting heavy weights and they're doing it a lot during the week. Okay, that's going to be the number you're trying to hit is 2 grams. So you might look at this and be like, holy cow, how am I going to calculate all of this? And we're going to continue to talk about that as we go. So this is how you do your estimate per body weight, okay? You find your lean body mass and then find out how many grams of protein you need from that lean body mass. So for example, if you are 150 pounds, your lean body mass is 135. Or right here, we have a 150-pound person, lean body mass, that's going to be 54 grams of protein per day. Okay, so she has all the calculations in there that you can go through. But what I wanted you to know is what category you're going to fall under. Okay, are you going to be in the average? Are you going to be in the endurance athlete? Or are you going to be in the strength athlete? Okay, so that's going to be the first thing to determine. And then knowing your lean body mass. All right, another way that we can figure this out, I'm going to erase this, save on room real quick. Is by your daily calories. All right, so it is recommended that 10 to 35% of your calories is protein. All right, now that's kind of a big range. And why is that, right? What we talked about earlier, how active you are, your age, your body fat percentage, all that goes into how many calories you should have. Okay, so I have my little metric here, my little note. It is 4 calories per 1 gram of protein. Okay, so let's say you're looking at your food label, and sometimes the food labels are wrong. Okay, so don't just look at, just protein 4 grams. Okay, really look at everything that's in it. Look at your ingredients and know that when you have grams of protein, 1 gram is going to equal 4 calories of those total calories on that food label. Okay, so that's what that is. So that way you'll get a good idea of, okay, yeah, this food might have some protein, but for the most part, it's all carbs, right? When you start to see the difference there. So pay attention to if the food is mostly protein or not, okay? It tricks you. It's really, really tricky. All right, so we have an example here of a 2,000 calorie day. All right, that's about average, a recommendation for the average person. Now, this does not say that you need to have 2,000 calories a day. Remember, this is dependent on if you're trying to lose weight, how active you are, your age, all that jazz, okay? So, but on average, 2,000 calories, that's going to be 50 to 175 grams of protein. And if we compare that to 4 calories per gram, start adding that up. That is a lot of calories. And so that's why when we were talking about the timing of the protein earlier, I was recommending to put your protein first, right? Because it's actually going to be harder to meet your protein needs than you think. And by the time you try to fit in all your protein, everything else seems to fall in place, your carbs and fats. So instead of thinking, okay, I need to eat less carbs, think, I need to eat more protein, because what is that going to do? That's going to automatically drop your carbs and give you an adequate amount of protein. Okay, so that's just a mindset thing that we can think of throughout the day, is just put our priority at protein, try to meet our recommended daily amount, and go from there. Okay, so we've talked about how we can find our protein based off of our body weight, and we can also find it based off of our calories. And remember, this is different for everybody, and this is the benefit of reaching out to our nutritionist, Alyssa, whose contact information is at the bottom of the PowerPoint. And you can also talk about this with your health coach. They can guide you through this as well, because it can get technical. You can get as technical with it as you want, or you can get as loose with it as you want, okay? Whatever fits you, your lifestyle, and your goals. So how do you find your recommended calories? This might be a question that's coming up in your head. Well, how do I even know, how do I, find my calories? So we can do it through calculations of your resting metabolic rate, and that's your heart rate during exercise. So that might not be something that you can answer right this second. Your activity level, so maybe how long you exercise during the week, we can add that into a formula, as well as your weight or body composition goal, which we can also add into a formula, right? So our math can do the trick for us, but it is base by base. So that's going to give you a grand scheme of how to find it. So I'm going to go ahead and tell you guys how I do my protein, okay, from my personal experience, because I don't like to count calories and I don't like it to take up too much time of my day. And I am a fairly active person, but I still just shoot for about 1 gram of protein per pound. For me, that seems to work and sustain, and I'm able to build muscle mass as well as keep my weight down. So when I do this, I go ahead and I know what my lean mass is. I estimate. I take that number and I just try to have about 100 grams of protein during the day, or 100 calories per se. So that is what works for me, and I just try to hit close to that number, about 100 to 120. And when I hit that number, I just kind of keep in mind, and I had to practice this a lot, of knowing how many grams of protein are in the foods that I eat. So I make a list at my house. Well, this marker is going dead too, but let's just pretend this is my list. I write out all of my protein foods that I love. So I love my eggs, I love my chicken, I love my salmon, I love my oatmeal, I love my quinoa, I love peanut butter, right? So I have my list out, and I either keep it on my phone, I keep it in my kitchen, wherever I'm going to need it most, maybe multiple places, and I write an egg is 6 grams of protein. A chicken breast is 36 grams of protein. My salmon is 30 grams of protein. My quinoa for 1 cup is 24 grams of protein. My peanut butter for 1 tablespoon is going to be 4 grams of protein. Okay, and if it's like a 3.6, I think peanut butter is around 3.6, I just round it up to 4. Okay, so that's how I do it. I make my list and I say, okay, what do I need to have today to meet my recommended protein? And then I just sort of estimate from there. And it's not a lot of brain work, and I become more natural of knowing, okay, have I had enough protein in for the day? So that's just my personal experience. I thought I'd share that with you guys because this can get overwhelming. But I do recommend talking to your dietitian and your health coach because this is a lot of math. It is a lot to figure out. It can be overwhelming. But if I can leave you with anything today is just put protein as a priority in every single meal. Don't get bogged down too much from what's out there. Try to put your whole foods first before any protein shakes that can have any additives or sugars added into it. And I do recommend having just a good balance of animals and plants. I think there's benefits to both of them. So I hope that was really helpful with you guys. And please let me know if you have any questions. You can email me at hope.kramer@coxinc.com, or you can just send a question over to your health coach as well. And as always, feel free to set up an appointment with Alyssa. She is still available for consultations and to work with you. And she would also love to hear from you. I believe her information is at the bottom of the PowerPoint as well. So thank you so much for joining in today, you guys, and have a wonderful rest of your week. Thank you.